Connolly.
Thank you, Chair. Just in relation to the 5.5% that you keep mentioning, and you said that the Controller and Auditor General picked this figure. He didn't pick this figure from himself. He picked it from your board meetings. Isn't that right?
Sorry, which figure?
The 5.5%.
Yeah, he picked it from a paper of the 23rd.
Yeah, that's okay. No, it's just a yes or just a second now, because
I think.
No, Mr. Daly, I will give you honestly. I will. I just want to. I want to ask my question, and if you want to give a longer answer, subject to the chairperson, he's in charge. It has been said repeatedly, this 5.5%, and the debate that you want and that you're trying to steer is down in relation to that. I'm putting it to you. He didn't pick that out of his head. He picked it from your board minutes. Isn't that right? He did.
He did. He ignored.
That's okay. You've
the
made
other
that,
half of the paper.
That's okay.
No.
I've heard you say.
No, Deputy, hold on, please. He picked the 5.5%. It was in there as a sort of an accounting standard that we would apply generally across the board in terms of our financial accounts. The second half of the paper, a very important paragraph in the paper, said that nobody selling an asset or preparing an asset or valuing an asset for sale should take this as absolute. That you had to regard to other quantitative and qualitative
Mr. Daly,
considerations.
You're doing it again in relation to reducing it down. There were many. The question I simply asked was, he didn't take it out of his head, and your answer is no. He took it from our board meetings, but he applied it inappropriately. He didn't take in your caveat into account.
I think he didn't take consideration of that.
I hear what you're saying. I don't agree with you, but I hear what you're saying. And he made this comment in the context of a report where conflict of interest was also of a major concern to him, not just the price. Isn't that right? The conflict of interest got a whole chapter, and Deputy MacDonald has gone through it, as have other things. Now, I'm looking at this, and I see PIMCO having to withdraw, and I say, thanks be to God for their compliance unit, because it was their compliance unit that alerted ye to this, not your compliance unit, which I might come back to. So that's number one. And then the two solicitors that were involved in London and Belfast, they were due for fees, isn't that right? And now they're going to lose out. They're not going to get anything, isn't that right?
From PIMCO?
Yes, yeah. PIMCO have gone it, so their advisors are not. It was a success fee, so they haven't been successful, isn't that right? Okay, so they're not going to get anything. Okay. And ye say, oh, PIMCO's gone, so that's our problem gone. We don't need to worry now, they're gone. I don't need to go after Mr. Cushion and write him a letter or anything. That's our headache gone. And then we have Cerberus, and they take on the same legal advisors. They take on the exact same legal advisors. And I've listened, Mr. McDonough is shaking his head, and I've listened carefully to this. Cerberus come in, and they have the exact same legal advisors. And they haven't?
No, they never represent them as a legal advisors. Cerberus legal advisors was Linklaters in London and NNL Goodbody. Strategic advisors is what they're termed. Brown, Rudnick and Tuins.
I heard you say that, but they're two legal entities. Isn't that right?
I agree on that, absolutely. Yeah.
And in fact, some of the Northern Ireland Advisory Committee meetings were held in Tuin's office. Isn't that right? In the offices. Were you there, Mr. Daly?
I was, yes.
You were.
You were in that. Two meetings.
So, did it ever occur to you that that might pose difficulties, that you were holding meetings in Tuin's offices?
At the time, remember, when we held those meetings, right, we had no inkling of any issue around Frank Cushion or Tuin's. I've said already at earlier meetings of the PAC, if I knew now what I know, if I knew then, what I know now about Frank Cushion and Tuin's, we certainly would not have used those offices. We used the Northern Ireland Housing Executive Offices while Brian Rowntree was there. And I go back to one point you mentioned, Deputy. You talked about conflict of interest in relation to price. I don't think, and you'll correct me if I'm wrong, I don't think, although the CNAG has been critical of conflict management and everything like that, I don't think he has concluded that that process in any way impacted on the price.
Well, I agree with you. He has set it out very fairly and very clearly. I'm looking at those facts as stated, and one has to raise serious concerns on behalf of the public. And we heard the figures mentioned a minute ago. Monopoly money is not in it. 4-point-something billion reduced down to 2.5 billion, reduced down to less than 1.3 billion. And the only person suffering here is the taxpayer. So it's in that context that I ask the questions. And I know that you're more than familiar with taxpayers. So it's in that context. Now, if I go back to...
Sorry, Deputy, I don't think anybody can lay the responsibility for the difference between the 4.5 billion that the banks lent and the 2.5 billion that NAMA paid for it. Whatever else, or whoever's door you lay that at, not
I didn't lay it at
I know you
anyone.
didn't.
Okay, so
but I think but other people do.
No, I didn't, and I want to use my time because the chair is going to come in on me. That's the. Sorry, I know that, but no, that's the setting for the taxpayer, who ultimately were here for the taxpayer. So now let's go back to the two solicitor groups' offices who now come in on behalf of Cerberus, albeit not under the name of legal advisors, strategic advisors. And they come in. Now, this has been asked already, and I don't like repetition, but did bells not go off in your head? Here are the same advisors coming in. Did you not say, oh God, PIMCO have gone out, these lads, God help them, have lost their fee, they must be getting it a different way now? Did that not occur to you?
I certainly wasn't worried about their fee, Deputy.
No, I'm not worried. Did it not occur to you that there might be...
The bell that went off is we need absolute assurance that there is nobody connected with NAMA getting any part of this.
Did it not worry you, a type of assurance like that?
I know. I mean, if you get... no, in fairness to Cerberus or any other... we get assurance from their chief legal counsel. I would rely on it. Okay.
Did it occur to you at any stage that Cerberus and PIMCO, and I'm not saying they were, but they could have been working strategically together?
I know that's been asked before in this forum, and there is absolutely no indication or interest.
No, that's not what I asked. I asked, did it occur to ye?
It did. I mean, it was one of the things I remember at one stage. Could they be stalking horses or what?
Yes.
There is absolutely no evidence.
Did you discuss that anywhere at a board meeting, or did you look at that?
I think we probably discussed it at the time, actually, when we were making the final decision.
And where would I see that anywhere, that you discussed these issues?
You won't see it in the minutes because it was a discussion. It's not. It didn't impact.
It's a vital discussion, isn't it? I mean, here are two, look, I've said it. In relation to Mr McDonagh, just the 100 million sales, you've said it in your paper and you've repeated it. That was up to 2013. It was actually up to 2012. In the briefing documents given to the Minister, 100 million was up to the end of 2012.
Well, 12 to 13.
Well, sorry, no, I want to be precise because, $1 million is a lot to the taxpayer. So the 100 million...
But, Deputy, I'll come back to you on this because I don't think you have with me, but I don't think there were too many other assets sold during 2013,
that could well be, but I'm looking at the briefing documents given to the Minister in 14 and other documents, and the figure for 2013 sales was 100 million.
No, I think it was 100 million up to the end of 13. I'll have to go back and check with my team.
When I stop talking and somebody else comes in, I'm going to precisely quote from it, in relation to where the 100 million, and you might come back to me. Yeah. Just in relation to the control of the data room. Ye controlled the data room on this occasion, not Lazard. Did NAMA personally control the data room? Who controlled it?
Effectively, it was controlled by our legal team, Mr. Collison here, who is behind me, and a senior solicitor.
So they're actually physically there, or they're manning it? Or?
Well, no, it's a virtual data room. You load that. I mean, it's a controlled, secure access data room. Effectively, the other people controlling what documents go into the data room. And it was also with our legal advisors, Hogan Lovells.
Are they in-house?
Who?
They're your own solicitors.
Who, Hogan Lovells?
Yes.
No, our own in-house solicitor. Our own in-house solicitor, senior solicitor, is obviously in-house, as is Mr. Collison's in-house, and then we had an outside firm, Hogan Lovells, who we had appointed to help us to manage the data room.
On that, did you discuss with them the conflict of interest in relation to Cushnahan? Did you go and seek legal advice from your legal advisors?
I don't believe so.
No, you didn't. You didn't. Okay. And in relation to Lazards, you didn't tell them that. I think I said that initially, and I forget what was the answer. You didn't tell them why PIMCO had withdrawn.
No, we didn't. We didn't tell them. No.
Okay. Okay, thanks. Thank you.